This is VOA Africa. Hello, I'm Vincent McCory, Africa 54 Managing Editor. Welcome to this special edition of Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of COVID-19, Voice of America is taking every necessary precaution to safeguard its employees. So our broadcast will look a little different today and in the near future as we, out of an abundance of caution, reduce our staffing at the VOA headquarters here in Washington. We are working to help keep you informed about what's happening, and we appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. EdTech companies are changing the face of Kenya's education system. Budding entrepreneurs are reimagining the traditional classroom, offering students alternative models for learning. Africa 54's Paul Deho spoke with Willis Njumbi, co-founder of Elimu Popote. He aims to build an education and life skill platform for kids while making learning fun through mobile phones and computer tablets.
Willis Njumbi, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Paul. Glad to be here on Africa 54.
Now, you run a tech startup in Kenya. You are one of those people who have come up with innovative ways to stay afloat. What is it that you've done that separates you from the pool?
Education being a basic need and being an engagement for all the population of a country, I think it's a place where you look at the opportunity for innovation to make it better. Simply by this. The conversation on my startup with my co-founder, Edmond Cavalli, started when we looked at education and we said, our kids are carrying back-breaking backpacks full of books. And that was our reality when we were growing up. And it's been 20, 30 years since we were in that scenario, and we're saying, has nothing changed? And so what we envisioned is an education system where children will be able to integrate with technology. They will be able to engage interactively and not just get learning, but get an education that would empower them as individuals and prepare them for the reality of the world that we live in. Because this world is full of technology, mobile phones, tablets, laptops, desktops. You cannot escape technology. And yet our education system was still running on pen and paper, and so we wanted to bridge that gap in terms of innovation, take away the physical burden and laden of education and just break the mold. And so that's when Elimu Popote was born about 2 years ago, a present working platform for revision for children within Kenya that is facing towards the children that are from 11 years of age up until 15 years of age, even as we continue to broaden our base of subscribers and our content base to include more age groups.
Do you plan to scale it up and maybe take it nationally or even across the borders to other parts in East Africa?
Our vision is a pan-African technological opportunity that allows education to be innovated and to then embrace technology and give the full benefits of that integration to the next generation. So that technology is not just a thing for social media interaction, that you shouldn't just have interactions around commercialism and consumerism, but you should also have engagement within the opportunity to be empowered and to be enabled and to be educated, even with this young generation.
Willis, you're talking about a country that more than 50% of the country doesn't have access to the internet. When you're looking at these rural schools, how are you going to reach these rural schools? Or how are you going to reach kids who are underprivileged, who don't have access to a phone, a laptop, or even electricity for that matter?
Excellent, Joe. Thank you so much for that. So, Paul, if you look at the environment that we live in, it's true that you do have a large rural population, and as well as the fact that you do have a population that can be as far removed as not to have the privilege or opportunity to have electricity as well as internet coverage. But this is the thing. When you look at the mobile penetration rate, even in Africa, and in sub-Saharan Africa and in Kenya, in terms of countries, is one of the highest in terms of mobile penetration rate globally. And what we are seeing is an unprecedented turn of events where you have people who are 10 years ago had nothing in terms of telecommunications, suddenly have smartphones in their hands. And so I'll challenge you to this. When you come to the underprivileged and you look at the cost of education, so you look at the cost of education and you say, it would take me for a year's supply of books. Yeah, it would be an average of between 7 and 13,000 shillings. So in dollars, that would be about 70 to $130 for a year's supply of books. When you look at the cost of education as a whole, and then you look at the cost of what it would take to have a technological innovation, I would reduce that cost to a simple tablet that I can provide to the student at a minimal cost of about $50. And they would have access to all the education content for $50. But in the most peri-urban and rural areas, you do have internet availability. So starting with centers where you would have signal boosts and provide this towards the communities around, you have the opportunity for this child to have a tablet in their hand and education at hand. So we have not forgotten them. This is not a system purely for the privileged, but it is a system to allow the population to be innovative in engagement of education.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Paul. I hope to see you soon.
Well, that was Africa 54's Paul Deal speaking to Willis Njumbi, co-founder of Elimu Popote in Nairobi, Kenya. Well, Rwanda is one of the fastest growing African countries in internet technology. Some analysts say this is the government's ambitious plan to transform the country into a regional high-tech hub. For more insight, Africa 54 technology reporter Paul Dio spoke to Kevin Bajaneza, founder and CEO of Natcom Services, a tech company which equips unemployed youth with essential training, mentoring, practical experience, and job placement as IT professionals.
Kevin Bajaneza, welcome to
Yes.
Africa 54.
Thank you.
You run a tech hub where you train young people in the Rwandan capital, Kigali. Talk to me more about that. Tell me, what is it exactly that you do?
We do capacity building for youth in general, for fresh graduates from universities and college. We also train the high school leavers and also do empower young girls into STEM careers. So we have been into this for a long time, and we help students to get practical experience, mostly in the technology skills, acquiring computer skills, what I would say, basic skills and professional skills.
How many people have you trained so far?
We have trained more than 2,000 youth across the country. We have been holding different boot camps and workshops, training youth. Of course, we train them for a period of 3 weeks to 2 months, depending on the specific programs that they are taking up. And later on, we also have what we call post trainings, whereby we prepare them now to write their resume with communication skills so that they can start now the process of applying for jobs.
What inspired you to start this program?
I actually saw the challenges people get through the process of being in school, graduating, and also getting jobs. So I decided to start this because myself also, I was from the same background, and I found that so many youth, especially in Rwanda, but not only in Rwanda, actually I would call it's a regional issue or even a global issue, where I find that so many youth are graduating with a lot of theory in their hands, actually in their brain. But again, in the end, they find that they have actually to demonstrate what they know practically. And that's what the employers need. So to connect that, to actually bridge the gap between the unemployed youth and fresh graduates and the employers, I had to start that program.
How big is the tech space in Rwanda?
The tech space is moving so fast, yeah, and everyone else has to cope with the situation. Actually, the government is doing very well in terms of technology, spaces, projects, and actually the technology advancement is really good.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you too.
Well, that was Africa 54 tech reporter Paul Diho speaking with Kevin Bajaneza, founder and CEO of Natcom Services in Kigali, Rwanda. Where cybercrime and cyber-enabled crime are among the fastest-growing global security threats, according to the FBI. Cybercrime has increased by some 400%. In Nigeria, several internet-assisted crimes are committed daily in various forms, such as fraudulent electronic mails, pornography, identity theft, hacking, cyber harassment, spamming, piracy, and phishing. But Adedoyin Adedeji, a technology entrepreneur who specializes in cybersecurity, wants to change that narrative. Africa 54 technology reporter Paul Dion spoke to Adedeji, who is based in Lagos.
Adedeji, welcome to Africa 54.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
As a technology entrepreneur in Lagos, Nigeria, what is it that you do to empower young people?
Over the years, what we've tried to do is to help young people see how to leverage technology and to promote like capacity building when it comes to technology. So technology gives you that, what I call that superpower for you to reach out to the world and let the world see you differently.
What kind of skills that you give to these young people?
So one of the things we do across the country is to also do internet safety training. Internet training for a lot of young people across the country. And this is something we've done for ourselves. I mean, we've done by ourselves. We've also done in partnership with a number of other organizations.
When it comes to the internet, there are a lot of hackers out there. There are a lot of unsecure places on the internet. So how do you advise young people? How do you make sure that people who get trained to be tech experts don't end up doing the wrong things on the internet?
The first thing is let people see the opportunities that are available on the internet. We also have a crisis of cybercrime in the country, which is something we can't shy away from. We have to talk about it. There's a crisis of cybercrime in the country. And at some point, we had this mindset, there's a general mindset that, a lot of the cybercrime is probably Nigerians that are trying to dupe or they are trying to cheat people abroad, steal people's money abroad. But increasingly, we are seeing a reversing trend, meaning that some of these cyber criminals are coming home now. Let me put it that way. Increasingly, we are having people's bank accounts being wiped out. We're having all that. So one of the things we try to do is, in some of our trainings, we bring in forensic detectives from EFCC. That's the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, which is the organization that is largely in charge of cybercrime, combating cybercrime in Nigeria. We bring some of their detectives in to some of our programs to talk to some of these young people. And interestingly, one thing we've learned over the years is that some of these kids do not know that cybercrime is actually a crime. That's the strange thing. Most of the time, they consider it as an hustle. Let me put it that way. That is just an hustle. It's your online. You could. These people have money. You could just take some of their money. It's not a big deal. They don't see it as like robbing people. Let me put it that way. So one of the things we try to do is we bring in these detectives to tell them real stories of people they've caught. Sometimes they even present pictures of some of the assets they've seized from these people.
You've just brought up a very good point. As much as Nigeria is known as the next Silicon Valley, especially Lagos, you also have a lot of challenges when it comes to cybercrime. Most of the cybercrime that I've read about comes from that part of the world.
We've worked with various partners over the years. We've worked with the American consulates. We've worked with the likes of Facebook on this. We've worked with the likes of Google on this. So over the years, we've done all this, and we'll continue to do it.
What makes Lagos attractive for young people who are tech savvy to want to engage in some of these crimes?
Okay, well, like Lagos is the economic capital of Nigeria, number one, and secondly, it's where you get the exposure, really. We also need to look at the area of internet access. Lagos across the country has some of the best internet facilities across the country, but even the cyber criminal guys also, they are also aware that you get the best connection in Lagos. So, well, majorly it's just because Lagos is the most populated and probably the most economically viable place in Nigeria.
Have you had any success trying to push this message of young people not engaging in cybercrime?
We've had a lot of success, and we are building on that success. Our ability to partner with government on this, working with governments to take these things to public schools, that's government schools, because that's where the vulnerability really is. So one of the things we try to do is to partner with governments and let governments see the consequences of not taking this message to their students.
So thank you so much for your time.
No problem, sir.
Well, that was Africa 54 tech reporter Paul Dill speaking to Adedoyin Adedeji in Lagos, Nigeria. Well, we're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54. Check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Still to come, African women are using new innovations to create new ideas in fashion industry. We'll be right back.
Is about more than just sitting here and talking about women's issues. It's about listening to them
and bringing their opinions to the table and making sure their voices are heard.
Because our lived experiences, our stories, and our voices will help shape the next generation.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Unemployed women in Nigeria often feel alone and isolated. But in Lagos, Abiola Idowu, the owner and lead designer of Ojufin Fashion, is using her skills to empower underprivileged women in our community. She trains young girls and women how to sew and create their small businesses. Africa 54's Paul Ndiho spoke to Idowu about empowering women by using fashion.
Abiola Idowu, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here.
As an entrepreneur running a fashion business in Lagos, how has COVID-19 affected your business?
It has affected me in so many ways. We were home for 4 weeks. We couldn't work for 4 weeks. We had to lock down our shops, sent our workers home, and then, we stopped productions and so many things.
As a fashion designer, were you able to innovate for COVID?
The government said we should use was the nose mask. So we were able to produce some of it. I produced a lot. I produced over 100 pieces, and I gave some out, and I was able to make money from it. So I sold some. So I was able to do that, and then I was able to do online classes for my students too, for the women that I impart and I teach.
Let's talk about the women that you impart. How many are they, and for how long have you been doing this? So many of them come to you looking to learn about fashion. Why are they particularly interested in becoming fashion designers?
The whole idea is to empower them, is to make them have something doing. And some of them have flair, passion for fashion. So when they come, we look at their outline. Some of them are not even educated. Some of them can't speak. But, I have a way of teaching them, imparting them, and a lot of them are really getting it. I want women to be empowered. There are lots of them out there just relying on their husband for everything, especially African women. They are relying on him for everything. So sometimes the man is even worked up. He transfers the aggression on them, and sometimes it turns to physical abuse and so many things like that. There are lots of them like that I have met, and I've encouraged them to come. Some of them will be like, I don't have money to learn. How will I go to somewhere without money? I just tell them to come.
Those women, when they come to you, what is it that they're looking for?
Some of them don't even know what they want at first, But by the time I sit them down, I have one-on-one conversation with them. They are getting their life in a proper way.
I tell them this is how to do it. You can do it. It takes time. Be patient with yourself. You can achieve it. Just take it gradually, one step at a time. And before you know it, they are happy. I tell them, start with the people in your area. Make little dresses for them. Make for your niece, make for your sisters, make for your brothers. Before you see it, someone will see it and like it on them. Then they will refer them to you. It's not as rosy as I am saying it though, but we have success story each time.
How many success stories do you have? How many people have gone through your fashion school that are successful, that are doing something on their own?
Last year to this year, I have 4 people that have established, but people that have taught, that have passed through me are over 100 students now since when I've started.
When I talked to you, you said you use fashion as a way of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
What did you mean exactly?
Using it to express myself means fashion is me. It's like my life. It's what I live for. I preach fashion to people. It's not necessarily you having billions of naira in your account before you can look good. You can look good with my simple outfit and with a little money.
What lessons have you learned from this period when you're at home and seated and wondering about how this is going to affect your business and what you can do to improve your business?
I've learned a lot of lessons in the fact that I need to do more online. So I'm really working on my social media handle so that people can really, really know what I do, not just my area alone now, so that they can know it all over the world.
What keeps you going?
The love for the business, and then my husband keeps me going. You know, at times when I come home, he says I'm just transferring all the aggression on him, but he understands.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Well, that was VOA's Paul Diho speaking to Abiola Eduwo, owner and lead designer of Jufin Fashion in Lagos, Nigeria. The global fashion search platform List reports that tie-dye is one of the fastest growing fashion search keywords of the year. And a Sierra Leonean American Virginia-based nurse is trying to make her mark in the fashion industry. Khadija Kaloko recently launched her fashion label, DJ Dave, and it's already generating buzz in the African community with our unique designs. Africa 54 technology reporter Paul Diho spoke to Koloko, the founder and designer of the DJ Dave fashion label.
Khadija Kaloko, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for bringing me on board.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm a nurse, so during this pandemic, I've been spending most of my time at home or at work. So when I come home and I've been indoors, I've been doing a lot of designing, which I've learned from my father and my grandmother. So I've spent most of the time designing fabrics and T-shirts and, selling it online and just either helping others that needs my support during this pandemic. It could be a phone bill that needs to be paid or anything I can do to reach out to friends and family that needs my help during this crisis.
What kind of designs or clothes have you made at your place?
I've been designing T-shirts. I have, different T-shirts that have been this is all handmade, designed by me. And I do, so people have been sending me orders to do specific orders for like weddings and for bridal events and things like that. So this is what I've been doing. This is actually for, a wedding.
Who inspired you to start this kind of thing?
Well, a friend of mine actually lost their job and things become harder. So this is one of the ways that I feel like, well, I have a knowledge that I learned from my father and my grandmother. Why don't I just use it and try to make something to help someone else during this pandemic? And I've been selling, T-shirts, fabrics, and, so because I can make them at home. And it's all handmade, designed by me. And, so I spent most of the time doing it. Then anytime I would get a sale, I would actually either help them out to pay their phone bill or maybe buy more products for, to continue the business.
You said that you design those by hand. What's unique about your product?
It's handmade and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to design them. But however, I'm eventually trying to go into like the mass production, but I'm not sure yet, but right now I'm just kind of doing something small at home and I'm trying to establish.
How long does it take you to design a T-shirt? Is what you're wearing part of your designs?
Yes, this is one of my designs, and it takes me at least 20 to 30 minutes to design these T-shirts. But sometimes it can take up to 2 hours, depending on the design. Like this particular design take me at least 2 hours to design. This one takes at least 7 to 10 minutes, and this would take at least 3 hours to design. This is also made out of wax.
Earlier you talked about how you are selling some of this stuff on the internet. When customers buy your products, what kind of feedback do they give you?
So far, I've had very positive feedbacks from customers, and they really like my design. And most of the design that I'm actually doing, you don't see them out there because it's custom made and it's handmade. And and my clothes are actually not bleeding at all, which means the colors are not coming out. Because I make sure I spend most of my time in the process. The process at which I go, it takes a little longer. However, the longer the process, the more the dye stays on the fabric, so it doesn't come out.
In terms of sales, how much have you sold so far online?
I've sold over 100 T-shirts, and also I get orders from people that are doing, anniversaries, wedding, wants to host like a church event, bridal events. So usually they would order like large quantity, like, groups like this.
You also have other skills that you are an artist.
Yes.
You're a painter. So most of the designs actually start by you coming up with a painting, and you figure out how to turn that painting into a fabric.
What I do is that, usually I would get a canvas this big or maybe a much bigger, and I would draw on it and design on it. So whatever I design on this canvas, when I'm done, I'll process it to put it to the computer, and I will send it to a fabric company that would actually do the rest of the other work for me.
Have you been able to sell some of the fabrics that you're talking about?
Yes, I do sell some fabrics, and some people actually order. Some people actually ask me to make a design, like a specific design for them for their events. And people are actually reaching out to me because they want something new and they want something different, some different design. And mostly what I've been getting lately, guys would order, they want a T-shirt for their shoes. So they would ask me to design something for their shoes because they have like nice tennis shoes that are out right now with different colors. So some guys would send me a pair of tennis shoes and say, can you make me a T-shirt? And I want this design on it. So I would design a lot of this clothes, then they'll pick the design, and I'll put it in whatever color that they want.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
That was Africa 54 technology reporter Pondio speaking to Khadija Kalokon, founder and designer, Digiday fashion label in Arlington, Virginia. And that was our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thank you for watching.